Woohoo! Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining me. I'm Tim Laskus, and you're listening to The Tim Laskus Show. This is episode 79 with Tywanna Smith. Tywanna is a former WNBA player who is succeeding off the court, helping other pro athletes. She has a management company called the Athletes Nexus that focuses on helping professional athletes in the NFL, the NBA, and overseas. She really pulls back the curtain so you can see what it's like in the world of professional sports, not only as a player, but also working with other professional players. I really found it fascinating. I know you will too. So, hey, send me an email and let me know what you thought about this episode at tim@timlaskus.com. All right, now sit back and enjoy.
The Tim Laskus Show, in search of entrepreneurial gold. Tim digs deep into the minds of his guests. Entertaining, down to earth, and informative. Now, here's your host, Tim Laskus.
Hey, Tywanna, thanks for joining me today.
Hey, good morning, Tim. Thanks for having me.
Anytime. Hey, you were telling me that you're a big reader. You love what is it that you're reading lately?
Right. I love any book that's written by Patricia Cornwell, John Grisham. Any type of crime thriller novel will captivate my entire afternoon. That's the way that I relax. So.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. John Grisham, now he's the one that did like the Pelican Brief.
Right.
Did that whole series. Okay, yeah, awesome.
Right.
Well, I love that. I wish I had the time and attention to read more, but I just don't.
Right.
But
That's
anyway,
the way that I wind down. So.
Yeah, for sure. Well, anyway, tell the listeners a little bit about yourself professionally and what are you currently working on?
Right, right. Well, I am a former professional basketball player turned businesswoman, financial advisor, and best-selling author. I manage pro athletes, NBA, NFL, and overseas athletes, and handling all of their off-court or off-field endeavors. I'm like their point person. I'm currently working on a project that I'll be able to announce here really soon to help get some information into young athletes' hands to help them avoid mistakes that plague a lot of the other celebrities and ruin careers and that sort of thing. So I'm just trying to touch lives through sports.
That's awesome. Now, how long did you play professional basketball?
I played for 2 years in Europe. I played in Amsterdam, Holland for a season, and then I went to Spain for a year.
Oh, wow, that must have been excellent. Did you enjoy the food over there?
I did. It was actually a pretty neat experience. I really suggest people that haven't traveled to another country to definitely put that on their bucket list because it'll definitely give you perspective. But it was a really, really cool experience, and the food was actually pretty good.
Well, that's great. Well, it's certainly, I lived out of the country for a short while, and it made me appreciate everything that I have here at
Right.
home, and just
Right.
proud to be an American and just be born in this country because we just have so many great things, and I never really eat McDonald's or Burger King, but I missed McDonald's and Burger King,
Right,
when
right.
I
And
was
it's
over there.
funny because they're available in most countries, even though the taste is slightly different. You do see them in the more Americanized countries. You'll see a McDonald's or Burger King on every corner. So it's pretty weird. But
Yeah. Now, when you stopped playing, you finished your career in basketball, and then you kind of transitioned into your company. What's the name of your company?
the name of my company is the Athletes Nexus, Nexus.
Okay.
Nexus by definition means the link, the connection, the core, the hub. And so what I wanted to do was based on my experience and the experience of, several athletes around me. I wanted to create a company platform or model, if you will, that would take care of the many, many, many needs of an athlete that sometimes falls between the cracks. There's such a focus on their sport and their skill and the revenue they can bring in as an athlete. But a lot of times, their education, developing a second skill, helping them develop a post career that will be in place when they're done, those items sometimes fall between the cracks. So I wanted to be a little bit more thorough and fill the holes, so to speak, in what they receive and their true needs.
Now, who is your ideal client? Is it the kind of new professional athlete, or is it somebody who's already been there, or maybe somebody who's kind of transitioning in the later stages of their career?
Right. Well, we have a model that can accommodate any of those clients, but I would like to say that our ideal client is the rookie. the one that's just entering the fray, because, if we can start strong, it will definitely help them finish their career stronger, and we can grow together. Right. It's because it is a learning curve. It's a learning process. So our ideal client is a professional rookie, but we do have models in place to support an athlete at any point of their journey.
Got yeah. And so what is your method for going out and attracting new clients? How do you go out to how do you reach out to the NBA or NFL and say, hey, this is who I am, and I've got this great company to help these guys?
Right. It's a lot of moving parts, and a lot of people will find in the sports world the circles are very small. Someone knows someone that knows someone else, and that other person, and that sort of thing. So, I get a lot of referrals from clients and other centers of influences like agents and accountants and other people that are in the industry. There are social media strategies that we utilize that we get a lot of hits back from, and going out and going to events to recruit, just like agents and coaches and that sort of thing, and approaching clients directly. So there are a lot of moving parts to get our pipeline full, and so far we're seeing a lot of success.
Now, what's kind of the percentage breakdown of male female clients that you have?
Well, at this point we are 100% male. For a couple of reasons. One, not saying that we can't service a WNBA player, because we've done some consulting work in the past with different players, but it's mostly on the male side. I tend to find that women basketball players, and other sports usually do a better job of handling their business, so to speak. So there's not as much of a need for this level of assistance. However, we are open to working with any player that needs our help.
So the women are wise with their funds.
Right. For the most part,
The
we're doing
guys
the
are
right
reckless.
thing. Right. And, truthfully, they don't make as much money as the male players. And so, it makes that conversation a lot more important to have. And they usually listen, and they try to do a better job on the front end. So.
Right. Now, as a female, do you think that it makes your job easier or more difficult in reaching out to some of these male athletes?
It has its challenges, because obviously the sports world is male dominated. But for the most part, I think it serves, we fill a unique role. In general, women are more nurturing and, a little bit more flexible and can adapt to different situations. And usually I'm received openly, sometimes probably more so than a male professional. And so I haven't seen as many challenges, on that end. For the most part, I think that, I feel a unique role, as I guess, like I said, it's the nurturing spirit of a woman.
Yeah, for sure. Now, let's kind of move on, because you were a professional athlete for a while, and then you had to start your company from the ground and build it, and all that kind of goes with that. Can you share a couple of tips for the listeners who are entrepreneurs themselves, maybe just starting out? What are some tips you would have for them in getting their own companies and businesses off the ground?
Right. I would say one book that I read in the beginning that really helped frame the way I looked at myself as a business owner was The Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki, and I definitely recommend that to a lot of people, just so that you can understand that there is a difference between being a self-employed professional and a business owner, and when you train yourself to think that way, it'll help you create the perfect model. And then the other I would say is to find you a mentor and allow that person to be the devil's advocate, so to speak, because your idea is always a great idea to you, but it's helpful to have other minds pick apart some of the things that you hadn't thought of, so that once you hit go and you're moving forward, you have your platform branded and in a good space to withstand the competition.
Those are excellent tips. And did you have anyone that was special, that was close to you when you were transitioning from an athlete to an entrepreneur that helped you along?
Yeah, I did. I had quite a few people. I would probably want to credit my older cousin, Marcus Brown, who played in the in the NBA for a little while, and he played in Europe. And when he retired, he was the highest paid American to ever play in the EuroLeague competition. And so, as he had graduated, I guess throughout his career, I got a firsthand view of not only the level of work that went into achieving that level of success, but also the business side of the sport. And so his experience gave me a lot of insight that I use to create the model in my business today.
Excellent. Well, it sounds like he's such a special person to you and really helped you along the way.
Yes.
Now, when did you realize that you were kind of on this path to being an entrepreneur? Was it after your career as a basketball player, or was it before?
I would say before. I've always had, I've always taken a spirit of, I guess, initiative, always thinking outside the box, always asking the questions, that no one else really wants to talk about. And, I saw a need. And I guess I think it's something that athletes have in general. Most athletes are usually hired more often than other just regular individuals because of some of the skills that they possess. And so I saw a need, and I've always knew that I wanted to do something in business, and I wanted to create my own platform, and I thought that this was the perfect way to do that.
For sure. And kind of what helped you to what was one of the first steps that you took to set your business up?
Well, I just started asking questions, and I wanted to poll current and former professional athletes so that I got their insight. The people that actually wore the jerseys and wore the cleats, even though I played a professional sport, it's a little different on the girls or the women's and the men's side. And so I wanted to talk to those individuals and get their stories. And obviously they come from different walks of life, and everybody had a different experience. And so I wanted to hear what their problem areas were so that I can tailor my model to fill that need. Because if those individuals had it, I know that there would be thousands of other young athletes that would be faced with the same issues. So I gathered some information.
Well, I think that's such a wise choice, is to go out there and poll your potential customers.
Right.
What is it that they need and what's lacking? And that just gives you all the answers to come in and fill all the gaps.
Right. There is invaluable. You cannot reproduce that type of information. So, right.
That's so important, because I think a lot of people have an idea in their mind of what their potential customers need without really asking, and then
Right.
sometimes there's a miss.
Right.
And
You
they're
missed
like,
the
"Oh
mark.
no, I've done all this work and I've prepared all of this. Nobody wants it."
Right.
And they just completely missed. But you went out and did the smart thing. You actually, took a survey. What is it that they need, and then
Right.
create that and give it to them.
Right. Sure. Absolutely.
Well, that's awesome, Tawana. Now let's move into the dig round. What keeps you motivated?
I would have to say my two small children. So my days are fun. I have a 2-year-old son and a 2-month-old daughter, and they absolutely keep me motivated and pushing. I want to create a model that I plan to scale one day, that they will be able to take over once they get a little older. And so I would definitely say that my children are my biggest motivation.
Well, I know you must have your hands full. I have a
Yeah.
3.5-year-old, and it is difficult for me to manage him and
Right.
business and everything. So you having a 2-month-old and a 2-year-old, that I give you so much credit. I might have to talk to you after the show and give me some tips on,
Right.
on, on
Right.
how to balance all of that.
There's never a dull moment. I would definitely say that.
For sure. Now, Tawana, who do you look up to as a business leader?
Yeah. Oh, who do I look up to as a business leader? There are a lot of individuals, but I guess I would, on the women's side of things, I would say Oprah. And on the male side of things and male athletes, I would say LeBron. I think that what he's done for the game as a businessman has been incredible. As far as thinking outside of the box and trying to, fill a lot of needs to advance the game. And so those are two people that I look to for different business acumen.
Well, that is such an excellent choice in individuals. I mean, Oprah, the Oprah effect.
Right.
I mean, she is just incredible and wonderful, and she just has such a positive energy around her.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's everything that she touches turns to gold. And
Absolutely.
That it's just so wonderful to read her story and see where she came from and what she's
Right.
done to really give back to people. And also with LeBron, I really enjoy. He's making decisions whether it's a popular decision or not.
Right.
He goes forward, and that's got to be tough. Because you've got so many people that have advice and they want you to do
Right.
this or do that. And LeBron's, he's
And
just
he's
he's doing his
focused.
own thing.
Yeah, yeah, he's focused. That laser like focused is definitely something a business owner needs because, if you're going to run an empire, you've got to keep your eye on the prize. So
There
I
you go.
definitely admire that about him.
Absolutely. Now, Tawana, if you have to choose one, street smarts or book smarts, which one are you going for?
Oh, street smarts all day. Street
All
smarts all
day.
day. In business, there are so many unexpected things that, will be thrown at you. And you've got to have the ability to adapt on your feet and to, make quick decisions and adjustments. So, street smarts all day.
Well, you started off this interview with saying that your favorite pastime is reading.
Yeah.
So, well, quit reading then. Burn the books.
Right, right, right. It helps if you can have both, but if you've got to choose, go with the street smarts.
There you go. Absolutely. Now, can you provide the listeners with an example of a time that was after you started your company where you felt mentally drained, exhausted, and just didn't think you could go forward anymore? And how did you get out of it?
Right. I would say now, I've actually been in this line of business for 10 years, but I just formed my company, a little over a year ago. And I would say after the first 3 months, there came this lull that I had to, regroup and push through. You put so much energy into forming your business and the marketing piece and you're thinking about how to service all of the clients and all of these different things, and so when it's go time, it's almost like planning a wedding. You're full speed ahead. Well, after that first rush and that first wave of interest and awareness and people wanting to talk to you about working together, when you have to regroup and make adjustments, it's like, okay, I've got to dig deep and get this second win, so to speak, make the adjustments and push forward all over again. So after the first 3 months, when I did that sort of regrouping and evaluating and that sort of thing, it was a tough moment because I thought it was the best idea and concept in the world. And so I just had to be a little bit more creative and to touching other markets and other, members in my audience. So, you know.
So, did you ever kind of second guess and start saying, oh, maybe this was the wrong choice?
I never second guessed it. I would say that, there are those, like I said, those moments, just like in a game, those moments of fatigue that you may have to take a time out to, calm the jitters, get back focused, reevaluate and move forward for the second charge. So I never doubted the concept, I just had to stay focused, so to speak, because there are a lot of things that I could do with this model, and all those things would take me farther off course. So, I was grateful. I'm grateful that I've not steered from my initial thought.
Stay the course. Absolutely. Now, what would you say is one of the most fulfilling moments of your entrepreneurial journey?
I would say signing my first client, it was a surreal experience because, again, I thought it was the best idea in the world. And to find someone else that, understood my philosophy and, felt the same way about the need for this, I think was gratifying, and definitely a confidence booster.
So it really kind of solidified, okay, yes, finally,
Right.
everything I've
This
been
is
working
it.
for,
Right.
it's coming to fruition and I have my first client.
Right.
And so would you say that that first client has really been kind of the most special? I mean, I'm sure they're all special to you, but that first
Right.
client must have been very, very important to you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We share a strong bond because, they understand the grind. Like I said, to get a business started as a woman in the industry and attacking issues that all athletes know exist, but some are not as vocal about. I think that, it was a very, I guess, I'm sort of a champion in their eyes. And so it's funny because I look at them the same way as believing in me and, wanting to see me push this business concept forward. So it's a very special relationship.
Absolutely, for sure. Well, Tywanna, you have been fantastic. I'm sure the listeners are going to be very inspired of
Thank
your
you.
story and how you've started to really create something special and to give back. I mean, you're providing a service, but you're also giving back to your clients and helping to make their lives better.
Yes.
And before we go, could you tell the listeners where they can find you online, your company's website, and any social media that you're currently on?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm on social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter under The Athletes Nexus. That's my handle. Our website is theathletesnexus.com. And I actually penned a book that is designed for young athletes to help them to begin thinking about the business of the sport. And you can find information on my book at survivingthelights.com. And it's available on Amazon, Surviving the Lights.
Awesome. Wonderful. Well, thank you, Tywanna. You've been fantastic. I look forward to following you on your journey.
Thank you, Tim. I appreciate you having me.
Thank you.
Want more entrepreneurial tips? Go to timlaskus.com.